Okay, so when designing and modeling buildings, it's one thing to know how to model walls, floors, and roofs. So those are the basic components of buildings. But in design, there are always still these extra things that using the wall tool or the floor tool or the roof tool might not just accomplish in Revit. So that is why we need an extra tool where we can use to model, actually create things from our mind to our own desire. So that is where the model in place interface comes in. The model in place interface can be accessed by this component icon, and you are just going to click on model in place. So this gives you option to model things to your own desire. For instance, you can decide if you want to model a wall, you can simply click on the wall tool. But you can also use the model in place interface to model a wall, and it will have the properties of a wall depending on the kind of template or parameter you select. Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Henry, and in today's video I want to make a dedicated tutorial on the model in place interface basically, so users can just learn how to use these tools in the model in place interface to when they encounter a cross point, when they want to model something that they don't necessarily need a wall or something to do, they just want to creatively create something, they can use some of these modeling tools. We have a playlist of Revit tutorials, full courses for you to learn on our playlist. You can check that out. You can also explore our channel for also rendering tutorials, especially with D5 render, Lumion renderings too. Okay, so you can also check that out as well. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to this channel if the content is helpful, because you are going to get more. Also hit the notification bell to get notified once we release new videos, and we are going to start the tutorial now. Alright, so first off, we are going to go to this architecture tab, then we're going to see this component here. So instead of just clicking on the component, we're going to click on the drop down icon, and we're going to see this model in place icon. So once you click on it, a list of templates is going to come out. So this template kind of governs the way the model in place will work. So if you want to be able to place windows on it like a wall, you are going to look for wall under this list. So once you click on wall, you are now going to click OK. So I'm just going to click OK, and you're going to be given the option to rename the model in place. I'm just going to click OK. Alright, so now the model in place interface is open. You are going to see the 5 major tools of model in place. So this extra 6th one is the void forms. So void form is basically the same 5 tools, but it's like the void version of all of them. So you are going to see how I'm going to apply all of them, and I'm going to show you how all of them works, basically even the void forms. So we're going to start off with extrusion. As the name implies, extrusion simply means extruding a shape, that is bringing out a shape. So you are going to see some parameters will appear here in this properties panel. So this properties panel will give you the ability to change the material as well as increase the size of your extrusion. So currently it's at 250 millimeters. So let's say we change it to 3000 millimeters, that is 3 meters. Then we can also choose to click on this point here and apply some materials. So once you do that, you'll be given option to select any material. So let's just select this aluminum, and we're going to click OK. So now we are now going to see over this top panel here, we can now see some options of lines and shapes, and both splits, spline lines, and all those different type of lines and different kind of shape, just to aid in the sketching of the profile. So you can choose variety. You can even start from this single line, draw whatever shape you want to draw. You can also use this rectangle, these shapes here, and draw a hexagon here. So however you want to do it, it just depends on what you want. So we're just going to delete these lines, then we're going to select all of this, and we're just going to click and move it just to this center point, so it's going to appear in the 3D. Then we're going to click on finish. Okay, so one thing you should take cognizance of while using the model in place interface, you should always know that if you create 2 mod interface while you are still editing, like you create 2 models while you are still editing. For instance, if I click on create, click on extrusion again, then create another extrusion while you're still editing them. So you can see the both of them. I can select both of them individually now, but if I click on finish model and I select it, it's going to select as one. So it's always good to take cognizance of this, because this may give you some issues if you are not familiar with the interface. So I'm now going to click edit place, then I'm just going to click on this and delete this one. Okay, so I'm just going to click on this. You can also go back to the model in place and edit it. For instance, if I click on this shape now, I want to change it from this hexagon to, I'm just going to click on rectangle, and I'm going to try and mimic a wall. So I'm just going to draw the wall this way. Let me just reduce the depth of the wall to 300. Then I'm going to click on finish. So you're going to see our wall is created. If you click on 3D, you're going to see how the model in place. Remember that when we were creating this model in place, when we selected the template or the parameter, we set it as walls. So you are going to see once I click on finish model, this model in place is going to act as a wall. So I'm going to go to architecture. I'm going to go to doors. So once I click on doors, you can see the door is able to place on it. Then I'm just going to place the door, and the door cuts through it perfectly. Okay, so you can see this, our model in place can also serve as integral part of our building depending on how we want to use it. So now we are done with the extrusion. We're going to enter into other model in place tools. So I'm just going to click on delete. So now I'm going to go to arc components again. I'm going to go to model in place. So this time, instead of selecting walls, I'm just going to select this casework, which is the one I normally use for when I just want to model something that doesn't fall within the category of any generic kind of building component like walls, floors, and all the stuff. So I'm going to click OK. I'm not going to go back to this level 1. So now we're going to be talking about blend. So blend is very similar to extrusion, but the only difference is that in blend it involves two shapes. So you are going to click on it and we are going to see how it works. So the thing about blend is you are going to go to this properties panel again. You are going to see the second end and the first end. So this first end is the first plane where you are going to draw your first shape, and this second end is the second plane where you are going to draw your second shape. So this number here represents the distance between those two planes. So let's say we make this 4 meters, that is 4,000 millimeters. As usual, we are given option to apply the material, and we can just click on aluminum. So now we can currently it always starts from the bottom base being editable. As you can see, it has already grayed out this one now, meaning that we can edit the bottom part of the blend. So let's say we draw a hexagon now, and we now click on edit top. So this edit top now means that we can now edit the top shape, that is the shape at this second end. So we can now put any profile we want. Let's just say we want to select a rectangle, and once we do this and we click on finish, it's going to blend those two shapes together. So if you go to 3D now, you're going to see how we blended the hexagon as well as the box to form this unique kind of shape. So that is for blend. So we're also going to go to architecture. We're going to go to components, model in place, casework again, click OK. Click OK. Then we're going to look at revolve. So what does revolve means? Revolve simply means you are going to draw an axis and you're going to draw a shape to revolve around that axis. So it's kind of like a center point where you're going to draw a profile that is going to go around. For instance, now if I click on this revolve tool, I'm going to see two options. You are going to see these boundary lines and axis lines. So you are going to draw your axis lines first. So before you draw your axis lines, you need to select a good plane that represents where you want your axis line to be. If currently automatically we're in a plan view, so it's going to be set at that plan view. So if I draw a line now, it means I'm drawing this line on the level 1 plan. So anything I'm going to be revolve is going to revolve around this line. So if I click on edit boundary line now, and let's say I now draw a donut. To create a donut, I'm just going to draw a circle here, and I make sure this end angle is 360 degrees, which means it's going to go around. If I change the material to as usual aluminum and I click on finish, you are going to see that the donut has gone around this. So this is a tool especially good, especially when you want to create something like a dome. So you can see this, our donut has gone around this. So we can always click on this the same way we can edit other model in place interface. You can always click on this and click on edit revolve. Then we're just going to go back to this plan view, and we're going to delete this profile first. Then we're going to try and draw an arc to form a circle. So we're going to draw a line, let's say 2 meters from here. We're also going to draw this 2 meters from here. Then we're going to use this arc tool and just draw this. Then we have created a circle. So if you go back to the 3D view, you are going to see this sphere we created. So this is nice. We can always click on it and we can even move it if we want to move it. So we're just going to click on finish. So now we're done with revolve. We're going to go back and we're going to check out the 4 tool. Okay, so this 4 tool is called sweep. So what sweep does is that sweep is like you are going to draw a path. So in that path, you are not going to draw a profile that is going to go through that path, or that is rather going to sweep through that path. That is why they call it sweep. So let's say we click on sweep now. So we are given two options. So we can pick path or we can sketch path. So this pick path works with already existing lines or existing models. If we want to make things quicker, instead of drawing some lines and selecting plane, we can just click pick path and we can pick any part of the 3D model on a 3D view. We can pick any part we want. You can see we can, any line we hover around will highlight. And we also have the sketch part, which is my favorite because it gives you more control and it doesn't have too much restrictions on a long run. So this sketch part, you need to set a plane, then you are now going to sketch on that plane the part of the sweep, then you are now going to draw the sweep profile. So let's see it practically. So we are going to go to this level 1, and let's say we want to draw a snake, a kind of pipe. Let me just use a curved pipe. So I'm just going to use some curvy lines. Let me arc this line again, arc this line, and also arc this line. So what this does is that once I click on finish, if I click on finish, I cannot click. You can see this finish again is grayed out because I'm not yet done. The interface of Revit will not allow me to complete this because I've not yet drawn a profile to sweep through this part. So now to draw that profile, I'm going to click on this select profile. I'm going to click on edit profile. Then this editing interface will come out again. Then let's say I'm now going to draw I'm just going to draw a circle. So I'm just clicking on this circle too. You can see that I can still even sketch in this 3D form. If I want the thing to be more appropriate, I can click to this front view and be able to draw what I want to draw. As far as these axis lines represent where I'm going to draw and how it's going to apply very well. So it's like a guide. So now I'm just going to draw, let me use a circle. Then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do some things. I'm going to use some arc lines, just do some funny things. Let me just do maybe 1 or 2 and mirror this here. Okay, so I'm now going to use the trim tool to trim this and trim this here. So I'm going to click on finish and click on finish. So now you can see that we have created a path. You can see this profile we drew have followed this part of the sweep. So this is now just one of the other modeling tools in Revit. So I'm just going to click on finish. Now we are going to go again and we're going to explore the final tool of the model in place interface. So we're going to click on swept blend. So swept blend is the combination of blend and sweep. So how this thing works is that it's going to use the parts of sweep, but at this part you are going to draw one profile at one end and another profile at another end. That is how it adopts the characteristics of the blend tool. So it adopts some part of the sweep tool and some part of the blend tool. So let's just look at it practically. So let's say we have click on swept blend now. So the same way we are going to be given option to pick part or to sketch part like sweep. So let's just say we sketch part and let's just say we use another arc. So the major disadvantage of using swept blend is that it only gives you provision to draw 2 profiles. So you can't really go around drawing too many profiles or too many lines, you get. So we're just going to leave it simple as one arc. So what we're now going to do is we're going to go to this 3D view now and we're going to click on finish first. Then we're going to see the options to edit 2 profiles. We're going to see select profile 1 and select profile 2. So let's click on select profile 1 and click on edit profile. So the one that is going to be highlighted is the one you can edit. You can see the other one is grayed out. So let's just say we draw a hexagon here and we click on finish. Then we now go to edit select profile 2 and edit profile 2. We now rotate this. We're now going to draw a circle here. Then we're going to click finish and we're going to click finish. So you can see how it has blended this sweep, this the first profile, this is the second profile, to form a unique shape. So so the thing about these tools is that, of course, as you can see, I'm just basically modeling nonsense now, things that are not useful. So it still relies on your creativity as a modeler or an architect to use the tools creatively to be able to model what you want. For instance, if I want to model some shading devices, I can use extrusion. I can even use sweep to make things faster. I can use different tools. I can use void forms to perforate it. Speaking of void forms, we are now going to enter even the void forms. So let me click on finish first. So you can see these are like the 5 things. These 5 masses I just modeled represent the 5 tools you can use in the model in place interface. So when we talk about void forms is nothing different from these 5 tools. It's just that it kind of does the inverse of what these 5 tools will do. Instead of me, if I do a void extrusion, the void extrusion is not going to create an extrusion. It's going to cut and create a void in whatever I set it on. Why using the void extrusion, especially when you want to use a void extrusion on a model in place, you need to click on that model in place and edit it for the void extrusion to be able to work. I'm going to show you how to use void extrusion in components of your model that you didn't use model in place to achieve, and I'm going to show you how to use it in this one you use model in place to achieve, like what I'm going to show you now. So we are just going to go to create. We are going to go to void extrusions. You can see the 5 tools here. So let's start from void extrusion, and we're going to click on set. We're going to click on pick a plane, and we're going to pick this work plane. Then let's say we draw a hexagon here. So once we have drawn our profile, we can now set the end of the profile and we can set the start. But you notice one thing, that there is no option to change material because there is no material in a void form. Its aim is the use of the void form is basically to cut through something. So if you click on finish, you are going to see we have cut through this void, and if I click on finish, it's going to cut through. So let's say we have a conventional wall now. We want to use a conventional revit wall, not a model in place. Let's say we click on architecture, we click on walls. So let's just draw this wall. Let me just select a much thicker wall. Let me select this one. So if I draw this wall now and I want to use some void forms on it, so this one I'm going to go beyond the void extrusion. I'm going to go into more complex things like sweep and swept blend using the void forms. So I'm going to go to components. So now I'm not cutting the void in a model that I use the model in place interface to achieve. Now I don't need to click on this to edit anything. I don't need to click on it since this is a generic wall. So what I'll just do is to click on component, model in place. I'm going to click on casework or whatever I want. It doesn't matter because it's actually a void form. Then I'm going to click on void. Now let's use void revolve first. So now we have the void revolve. We are going to draw our axis line. We are going to click on set. We are going to click on pick plane. We are going to set the surface of this wall as the plane. Then we are going to start and draw our axis line first. Once we draw our axis line, we are now going to draw our boundary line. So now I'm just going to draw a complex shape. Let me just use this triangle here and click finish. Okay, so there's an error in Revit. It says the profile must not cross the axis of revolution. Okay, so you are going to drag back this line here, because once you are doing a revolve, the profile is not meant to pass this axis line. So that was an error on my part, and it's good to take note of that. So we have dragged it back to make sure it's on the axis line. So we are going to click on finish, and you're going to see it's going to create the void. So now we have done this. We're now going to click on cut geometry, and we're going to click on cut geometry. Then we're going to select this void and select this wall, and you can see the thing has cut the wall. So now you can even further create more void forms. You can go to create, go to void forms. Now let's use void sweep. So now we are going to create a pattern, a reveal on this wall. So we are going to click on sketch path. We are going to click on set. We are going to click on pick work plane. We are going to select the surface of the wall. Then let's draw something interesting, just some curves. So we are going to basically draw a pipe cutting through the wall. Let's say we want to draw an inorganized reveal for this pipe. So we're just going to do this. We're just going to click on finish. The same way we create our regular sweep, edit profile. Then we're going to draw a circle here. So the part that is in contact with the body we want to cut through is the part that is going to cut out. So we're going to click on finish. So you can see that once we have created a void, once it's not cutting anything, it will appear as this yellow translucent thing. So what your job now is now to go over to this point, click on this drop down, click on cut geometry, select the void, select the wall, and you can see it has cut, and we'll just click finish. So this is how versatile this thing can be. You can see that this is just me freestyling with this, and you can see you can just only imagine the potential diversity you can achieve with this in your model and how you can blend it to your unique use. Okay, so this is the end of this video. I hope this video was helpful for you to understand how to use all the model in place tools, and I hope when you are using the model in place tools you won't run into issues after you've watched this video. So if you haven't done so already, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to this channel for more content like this. We are going to try our best to be releasing consistent architectural software tutorials to help you in your career, in whatever career you have, maybe architect, modeler, engineer, or whatever. Okay, so with that said and done, I'm going to wish you good luck till we see you again in the next video. Thank you very much.